guys a visit a couple of years ago. A little bit about my background. I've lived in Center City, Philadelphia for about 7 or 8 years now. I work for a large financial institution. I've worked in the field of investment management for over 30 years now in a number of fund management, sales, and client serving capacities. Well, I've always felt about myself that I have a latent spirituality. I think I live my life in a spiritual way, the way I do my work, the way I deal with other people. I have a tendency to see the goodness, the godliness in people. But in terms of structurally practicing my faith through prayer, meditation, a conscious way, I really haven't done all that much of it. I've done it in fits and starts at various times in my life, but I reached a point in my life where I am looking for a little bit more structure about my relationship with God. I love the fact that not only are the participants, the people in the pews, diverse in terms of lifestyle and color, but also the people on the altar. We've seen Episcopalian, of course, but at one point there was a Presbyterian here, there's a Baptist minister here, and I just love the diversity. I love the various interpretations of the Word of God, which of course are 99% more in common, and the 1% might be the exception. And it's a feeling that I've never experienced anywhere else. And Mark Smith, the interim pastor here, had recommended to me maybe 9 months ago that I think about becoming an acolyte. My immediate reaction was no. I did think about it for several months, and I forget whether I circled back to Mark or if Mark asked me one more time. But in fact, I've found that to be an incredible experience. If I find I'm certainly participating in the liturgy in a very meaningful way, and during Eucharist itself, I feel a transcendent connection with the liturgy as well as the people who I am serving. I've met with Mark for coffee a number of times. Initially at his invitation, but as follow-up to that, when I've been dealing with some personal issues, Mark was there. He was a good listener, and he's been a good counselor and a good friend. As one of the long-term parishioners had said to me, because I was talking to her about Mark, and she said he's just a very, very good priest, and I can certainly vouch for that. Yeah, I've volunteered at Broad Street Ministry, Habitat for Humanity. I do find that, for instance, being at the Broad Street Ministry, things can be hectic, you can be moving very fast, but I've definitely experienced a sense of peace, which is, and I don't even know why, but I must say it's there. So, you know, when I talk about different points of light, and light in the sense of God and getting to know God, I think there are all kinds of things that are available to us here that we can take advantage of on our own timeline. faith is a work in progress for me. I've never been knocked off a horse and seen the light. But what I find here at the church is through meeting other people of faith, meeting some wonderful priests and ministers, and through adult education. The adult education itself, I think, is just terrific. I mean, right now we're studying the mystics. Earlier, we've studied church history. There's a Wednesday night group discussing the works of Thomas Merton. Not only do we have learned priests leading the discussion, but in fact we're discussing with one another. What does this mean? What does this mean in your life? What does it mean in my life? And I love that feeling of spirit among us, but also there's a certain intellectual component to it as well. So I think of faith and one's journey. You might find God in all different ways together. It might be service, it might be adult education, it might be prayer, meditation, it might be being in this beautiful church and hearing the incredibly beautiful music of the church choir. And I think the Church of the Holy Trinity kind of offers this full immersion in spirituality, for lack of a better word. It's all very complimentary and reinforcing, and it has made a difference in my life, without a doubt.